Welcome back, baseball fans, to another elimination video. We're going to be eliminating the Chicago Cubs, who lost a tough one in the wild card round to the Dodgers. Got into a huge hole in the first couple of innings and couldn't dig themselves out. But they still had a fine year and surprised a lot of people. Yeah, they have some really interesting stats. Talk about barbell stats. Some remarkably great and awful performances. Let's start with the offense. I guess we have to start by at least mentioning that Buck Martinez, the reserve catcher, hit .442 in 52 plate appearances. So congratulations, Buck Martinez, for hitting .442 with 6 homers and 52 at-bats. And he did not walk. He has a .442 on base as well. What a strange line that is. Bobby Mercer, what could be his last stand in Chicago. What a .358 with a .441 on base. Dave Kingman, 79, got the 11 homer and 37 RBI. Buckner, a little disappointing at .272, as he was a batting champion. And then Heidi Cruz made the most of his home runs. Hit .207, but had 9 of them. He hit .229 with a card. That hits a ton of homers. So that's about right. And then you have the reserve infielders, other than the Mendoza line at the bottom there. We're going to save the best for last for pitching, so we'll just start at the bottom and just talk about what a horrible year Jeff Zahn had, going winless with an .862 ERA in 39 innings, a .224 WHIP. That's horrific, historically bad. Kruko was bad. The lefty in the bullpen, Dennis Kinney, was ordinary. Kenny Holtzman was okay, but not that okay. The Rushells were fine. Rick Rushell was the ace. He dueled Sutton and could not get the win. He struggled in that playoff game. Brother Paul Rushell was 5-1, .359 ERA. But now it's time to talk about, first we got to talk Joey McLaughlin, the only pitcher in Strat to not give up a run, and he did it in 20 1/3 innings. 7 hits, 8 walks, 17 strikeouts. But the story of all of this is the 2-year run of Bruce Sutter. What you're not seeing on the screen right now is what he did last year. Last year, Bruce Sutter won the National League Cy Young Award. 18 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 walks, 27 strikeouts, ERA of 0, a WHIP of 53 cents. And this year, you're seeing the same thing. 11 saves, because they were winning more this year. He actually did give up an earned run. 6 hits, 6 walks, 24 strikeouts. So let me combine it for you, folks. In the last 2 years of Strat-O-Matic, Bruce Sutter has 18 saves in 35 1/3 innings. 35 1/3 innings, he gave up 13 hits, 1 run, 9 walks, and 51 strikeouts. And that's an ERA of 0.25. 0.25 is Bruce Sutter's ERA in the last 2 years. This is absolutely stunning results. It almost sounds like one of the modern baseball players strikeout to 9-inning numbers, because there's a lot of hideous stats in present pitching in Major League Baseball, for better or for worse. So with that, let's now take a look at what the Cubs are going to do moving forward. They have to get rid of 8 guys, hopefully not him, from 78, and see who's coming back. I think the big guns will continue with the same cards. Yeah, Sutter's got a 79, so that's a good sign. So here are your 78 cards. You got an entire pitching staff here. Starting pitching staff. Okay. Let's see the 12 guys that'll start the year for the Cubs next year. They're going to go 8 hitters and 4 pitchers. That's been the most common alignment this year. So we'll look at Okay. So Dave Kingman is your DH. but you could pick him at your left fielder. May as well keep him at DH. You got a couple catchers. Sadik can only hit righties, not lefties. And then you have Buck Martinez. He of the 442 batting average. You might want to play him a little more. Buckner wins the batting title over at first. Rafael Ramirez did a decent job at short. As a 3 shortstop who could hit both ways. This was his first year in baseball, 267. He's a Brave, and the Braves might come calling for him in a few years. There's Jerry Morales, longtime Cub, with his best card. Here's a nice Jose Cardenal late in career. That'll hit you 341 over there because there's nothing over here. There's your percentage. 340. And this really fun Heidi Cruz card. Yeah, lots of power, good defense. And here's your pitching staff, folks. It starts at the end. So, yeah, we had brought in an extra guy there. We talked about Joey McLaughlin, how great he was. So, Holtzman pitched out of the bullpen, as did McLaughlin, as did Kinney, as did Suter. Who's going to be the rotation? It's all gone. So all of the Cubs starting pitchers were from the year of 1978, so they have to start from scratch with a new pitching staff. But the good news is the bullpen is interesting for better or for worse. Kinney gets lefties out, and McLaughlin, I said, had a masterful year, and Holtzman's ordinary. I suppose you could put Holtzman in the rotation as your number 3 starter as a lefty. That might be one way, so you only have to go get 3 starters and not 4. So that's what the Cubs look like. And now we'll take a peek at those other 8 Cub players and see what they're going to do with them moving forward. All right, so the Cubs are going to have to think about 4 hitters and 4 pitchers moving forward. And so let's get started. The first hitter is Enos Cabell. He was just like kind of a 1-year rental. His contract was up, had only 1 year left in it. He actually does some pretty nice stuff moving forward. Very nice stuff. It might come in 83 and 4, where he hits 300 both years. We're not quite there yet, but that's still promising for Detroit and Houston. Back in Houston. Here we are. He led Major League Baseball in games played and at-bats, and in 22 MVP votes with that 78 card. So he's got 2 years with Houston, a year with the Giants, and then the Tigers, and then bounces around. So he doesn't have to be a Cub. I think he doesn't really fit the profile. He only had 7 home runs. They're probably thinking they'd rather have a power-hitting third baseman. But he's definitely worth keeping. I think we're going to make him a keeper. Would also suggest, how about a trade? Open up the trade for Enos. Next guy is Dave McKay, and he actually will have another nice year coming up in the year of the strike, as a lot of players tend to do have good years in the year of the strike. So his 78 card, he actually was given 145 games, which was a career high for him with the Blue Jays, and he did okay. 7 homers, 238, yeah. But he has another good year in 1981 with Oakland. Half a season, hits 263 with a 313 on base, and a 688 OPS. Those will be the highest numbers of his career, minus the power. So that card will probably get into the league, at least as a utility player. 79 card, he could be put on waivers if he has a card with Toronto in 79. I believe he does. We'll go look and see if a Toronto card exists for McKay. It does. So he is waiver eligible, but let's just keep him for now. I prefer to keep guys until I have too many to keep, then start kicking them off the boat. All right, Bobby Mercer. Now, his Cub stature might be coming to a close. His Cub tenure might be coming to a close. Mercer. So 77 and 78 as last 2 years with the Cubs. 79, he starts it with the Cubs, finishes with the Yankees. Hits 267 with it. His 80, he's good. 81, he's got a fun card with power, and then 82 and 83. So we know he gets waivers in 79. And he's got 2 more good years left, and there's nothing to sneeze about a guy who's approaching an 800 OPS. Defensively, he's not going to be that good anymore. And of course, his speed will be gone. But he's definitely in the keeper category. And again, it's either him or the Yankees. So let's again consider a trade. But let's keep Bobby Mercer and keep the phone lines open. That's always a good strategy. You never know who's going to be on the other end of the line. Stan Pappy. He was a platoon shortstop, but eventually they gave the starting job to Rafael Ramirez, and Pappy had limited playing time. 78 card, there it is. 167 at-bats, and 78 was a career high for him. Plate appearances. Then he goes to Boston and Detroit, and it's, you know, it's just a utility guy. It's not very pretty. So we want to see if he's got waivers in 79 with Boston. And let's go check that out. And he does. He gets waivers in 79 with Boston, so let's put him on waivers. All right, so 3 keepers and a waiver. Now we have this rather curious situation where all of the Cubs starting pitchers are contracts went up at the same time. So they have to completely build a new pitching staff, hopefully out of these same guys. Beginning with Rick Russell, and I think it will probably be a no-brainer to bring Rick back. So he isn't ready to leave Chicago quite yet, though I believe he's a Yankee in 81. Yes, he is. So he splits 81 with the Cubs and the Yankees, misses 82, comes back to the Cubs, but then he has some really nice years, believe it or not, with the Pirates and Giants. Great year with the Pirates in 87. Great year with the Giants in 88. Did this guy not serve up that big home run to Bo Jackson in the All-Star game? I think he did. That's an interesting stat. So here he is, 79. He's still good on the rotation. This is a no-brainer. You got to start your pitching staff somewhere. You start it with your ace, Rick Russell. Now, next, Jeff Zahn had a terrible time this year. Was not a good fit for him. His running out of time here, 78, was 14 of 14 with an ERA of 3. Could pitch on 3 days rest. He was a Twin. You see, he was a Cub in 75 and 76, and just kind of, we left him there. We didn't move him to the Twins. Maybe he needs to go to the Twins to revive his career. I don't know. But he also does some nice stuff with the California Angels early in this decade. So I think the Angels might come calling. Maybe once Frank Tanana is no longer an Angel, Zahn will take his place from the south side there. So, interesting situation. He's no longer aligned to the Cubs. So you might want to have a bidding war between the Twins and Angels. So again, the Cubs are going to be the Trader Vicks at the draft. They're going to trade everybody. The exclamation point on that one. He just doesn't fit with Chicago anymore. You know, most times when you do this analysis, the thing you hate to find are retired players, because that means you got to find they're leaving the league, and you got to hope you can find new guys to fill their spots. But it's a good situation to have too many keepers. Next up is Mike Krukow. Now, Mike has some mixed results here. I think, he has a great year with the Phillies in 82. And then that was it. And then he was only 1 year in Philadelphia, and it was really good. 13-game winner. And that, he wins 20 with the Giants in 86. It's a little bit out of this timeline, though. So he's a Cub in 79 and in 80, but his stats are pretty high in both years. 81 Krukow, though, I can deal with this. 368 ERA, and the 82 Krukow card would be available next year. And I know it was with Philadelphia, but the Cubs could hold on to him. They could say, hey, we're going to take this Krukow card. We're not, you know. And the Phillies could say, hey, give us our guy. And the Cubs could say, your guy, he's played most of his career with us. He only played with you for 1 year, so forget it. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen, and we're going to keep Krukow. Actually, I kind of like that. I think it's a smart move. He can pitch on 3 days rest here. He didn't do that in the card we just had with a 128 whip. This card is a little high on the whip side. But we're going to keep Crew Cal. So now you got 6 keepers, which is unrealistic. And the final guy is Paul Russell, and this guy might retire. I don't think he might pitch in the 79, but I don't think so. He's got a Cub hat on here, but he pitched for Cleveland as well. No, this 79 card does not exist for Cleveland. We could take a peek just to confirm that. See if he's an extra pitcher, but he's not. I would have remembered that one. Yeah, so we have to retire Paul Russell. So we do get a retired player. 6-1-1. But that's good news. That means the phone lines are open. And it's going to be interesting. You know, the nucleus of the Cubs is coming back without interruption. And by nucleus, I mean Kingman, Buckner, and Suter. The big 3. And whoever you put around them, well, yeah. And you're in a tough division anyway, but that's not bad for the Cubs. That's a nice off-season review for them. All right, so thanks for checking this out, folks. It's Eliminating the Cubs video, and we'll see you next time.